Enough with leaders, with leadership, and all the speeches that overvalue them. And not only for the manipulative hints that this concept has always carried. Even if it is interesting to remember that leadership is the activity of bringing people to do something they would not have done by themselves. Economists talk about preference transformation, and leadership is what modifies the preferences of people and leads them to prefer to go in the direction of the strategy and obey, for example, rather than going in a direction that they would have followed naturally, if I may say. We can feel the manipulative risk of this sheep behaviors approach. Now, what annoys me today is that this overvaluation of leadership implies a devaluation of management. Because all the gurus of leadership, when they define leadership, obviously always do so in opposition to the management. For instance, leadership is what generates change, concern for the long term, for the mission, or for strategy and for innovation. Whereas management is concerned with efficiency, achieving objectives, and processualization. Here we find the classic pairs of management literature opposing exploration and exploitation, innovation and excellence, strategy and tactics, etc. Well, why not? But what is unbearable is that this definition by opposition between leadership and management implies on the one hand a hierarchization and on the other hand a way for some people to attribute and keep for themselves the access to positions of responsibility and power. I would like to show here the risk that this creates of constituting organizations that are both incoherent and totally elitist, a sort of incoherent neo-aristocracy. But first, hierarchization. Despite all the precautions of the great authors in management who defend that the opposition does not exist and that leadership and management are consubstantial dimensions of the professions of executives, it seems to me that everyone perceives in the discourses on leadership a devaluation of management, which would be an activity of accountants obsessed by figures and rules. Managers are seen as brainless, laborious, and compulsive controllers. And it is serious to convey this devaluation. It's serious because it leads people to devalue the daily work of putting things in order, of organizing and ensuring consistency. And I don't know about you, but when I see our organizations, it's mainly the contradiction and organizational aberrations that strike me. That is, the lack of management. But these discourses on leadership do not only devalue management and therefore the work of organization. No, the overvaluing of leadership is also and above all a naturalization of the hierarchy, or at least a way of constituting an aristocracy. Some people are capable of leadership and therefore called upon to lead our companies, and a managerial little pleb. There would be those who would have the qualities, the intellectual breadth, the charisma to be leaders, and the others, unfortunate ones, who would have to be satisfied with being only managers. And that is the problem, because these traits, these dimensions that make up leaders cannot be taught. They are qualities. And yes, I know that some researchers claim to teach leadership. But frankly, it sounds like a very hypocritical speech when at the end of the end, it comes back to charisma most of the time. And frankly, that's disgusting, pardon the term. Because to say that the central mechanism of leadership is charisma, which is a quality that cannot be taught, is the best way to build a two-tier world. Those who have it is charisma, and those who don't. That's it. It secures two very different classes without any possibility of passing from one to the other. You are born a leader, or you will always remain a manager in these organizations. So for all of those who refuse the return of an aristocracy within organizations, and for all those who believe in the need to do things well and seriously, let's forget a little bit about leadership and let's celebrate managers.